Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are strapping in for a really intense one. We're going deep into the chaos of Power Book 4.
That's right. The latest episode, number 9, War Requiem. It wasn't just a big episode. It was like a total demolition of the board.
Yeah.
All the articles and recaps we've looked at are calling this the moment everything just completely snapped.
Okay, let's unpack this because the level of betrayal and, backstabbing in this single episode is just, it's off the charts. So our mission today is to really get into the disastrous choices made by Tommy, Jenard, Diamond, and to understand how the cartels and the feds are, tightening that noose around Tommy. And we need to figure out what that finale title, Beginning of the End, really means. Is this it for his Chicago run? Or just this war?
And it's the perfect time to look at this because the sources are all pointing to one thing. These weren't calculated moves. These were just acts of pure desperation, and the blowback was immediate and catastrophic.
We have to start with the architects of all this local chaos, the Samson brothers. So Jenard, he's feeling the walls close in, and he finally confesses to Diamond.
And this is key. He does it over a phone call he knows Tommy is listening in on.
Right. And he confesses to killing JP, King Kilo, and Kilo's main guy, Jojo.
And that confession, it wasn't an apology. It was a business pitch, a really desperate one. Jenard's whole strategy was basically 3 quick moves. First, pin the Kilo and Jojo murders on JP, who's already dead.
Convenient.
Very. Second, use that lie to flip Kilo's crew, the RDs, the Ripper's disciples, and turn them against Tommy. And then third, flip their allegiance over to the Marquez Cartel, to Ortega, who, needs that local muscle.
And Diamond, who's still sort of trapped by this idea of family, he reluctantly goes along with it. Ortega gives them the protection they need from Tommy. But here's where it all just falls apart right away.
Instantly. That protection, that alliance with the Marquez Cartel, it came with a price, a very immediate price.
The RDs weren't looking for, like, a future payout. They wanted blood right now for Kilo.
Exactly. They agreed to hunt Tommy, but they demanded D-Mac's head first because they thought D-Mac was involved in all the earlier violence.
And Jenard, in what might be the coldest moment of the season, he forces Marshall to do the unthinkable. Kill his own childhood friend.
Yeah, the sources really emphasize the heartbreak of that scene. I mean, when Marshall finally confronts D-Mac, he pulls a gun, but then he puts it down.
You can't do it.
He can't. He begs D-Mac to just run, and he says it. He says, we're brothers. They'd known each other since they were 6.
So D-Mac, he understands the rules of the game.
Yeah.
He sees Marshall's hesitation not as loyalty, but as a weakness, as a liability. So D-Mac draws his own gun and pulls the trigger on Marshall. It's this brutal statement that on these streets, any kind of sentimentality gets you killed.
And what's so fascinating is how Jenard's entire path to survival is just paved by the destruction of everyone else. Diamond's real failure was letting Jenard's panic override any good business sense. He basically signed the death warrant for his own organization.
Right, because if we connect this to the bigger picture, the second the Samson brothers chose Ortega and the RDs over their own code, the show is telling you that their whole Operation CBI was already doomed. It was a total failure of leadership.
So while CBI is just imploding from the inside, Tommy is dealing with these, truly existential threats from above. Let's talk about the cartel pressure.
Yeah.
Che, the rival leader, he finds out CBI was selling Madame Wu's fentanyl. A massive breach of trust.
And Che's reaction was terrifying. I mean, he didn't just send a warning. He kidnapped both Miguel and Tommy.
Yeah, and put them through hell. They were almost tortured to death, and the only reason they got out of it was by convincing Che they were also victims of Ortega's scheming.
So Che gives them this ultimatum. It's absolute. He says Tommy and Miguel have to eliminate CBI, the Marquez Cartel, and Ortega. All of them.
And the leverage he uses. It's Maria and their unborn child. He says they'll be killed, and Tommy and Miguel will be forced to watch. It's the kind of pressure that forces you to do something reckless and fast.
On top of that, Miguel's being held hostage until Tommy can return Che's re-up money. And this is where Shanti really proves her value.
Oh, absolutely.
She handles that money drop to Che with such efficiency and, business savvy that Che is actually impressed. He lets Miguel go. Shanti is quietly becoming Tommy's most competent partner.
Meanwhile, you've got the paperwork game, law enforcement doing their own thing. Detective DeFranco is starting to realize Stacy's death was a cartel hit because she arrested Ortega's cousin for Claudia's murder.
And then, in this insane twist, Ortega gets out of jail. So the pressure is suddenly off the cartel, right as this war is about to pop off.
And then there's OUSA Tang. He's working his own angles. He needs Vic Flynn to say Tommy corrupted Stacy, but Vic is playing his own game.
A much bigger game. He sees the law as just a tool for Chang, so he offers to write a statement, but only if he gets total freedom from the feds. For everything. The whole Flynn operation.
And the deal went through. We see him on a private jet with his girlfriend, Ray, toasting to his freedom. This is, it's a huge theme in the Power universe. The law will make a deal with the devil.
To get a bigger devil.
Exactly. They'll free a known criminal like Vic just to get a shot at taking down Tommy.
So you've got Tommy being squeezed by Che, who's threatening his family, and by a legal system that just gave total immunity to a key witness just to bring him down. The whole city is caving in on him.
Which leads us directly to that final confrontation, the one Tommy framed as a brother for a brother.
Yeah, so Tommy and Diamond meet, and you can just feel the tension. Diamond is trying to be the peacemaker. He's offering to get Ortega to stand down if Tommy will just spare Jenard.
Which shows that Diamond, even then, he still wanted to stop the war. He wasn't focused on winning, just on ending the bloodshed.
But Tommy's response, it was so cold. He says, Jenard killed his brother, so Diamond will have to lose his. And that's it. That's the moment the war becomes purely personal. It's not about business anymore. It's just revenge for JP.
And that refusal, it just pushes Jenard completely over the edge. He's high, he's a mess over Marshall, and he goes after the one person he knows is untouchable. Tommy's mother, Kate.
Yeah, he tries to strangle her outside a store, and she's screaming that he killed her son. It's a horrible scene.
Yeah.
Tommy immediately sends Mireya and his mom to McGill's place for protection.
But this is where Shanti's quiet move pays off big time. She tells Tommy she has a spy, a good one, inside CBI. This wasn't about muscle, it was pure intelligence.
A huge advantage.
Yeah.
And that intel leads them right to the church where Diamond and Jenard are hiding out. They knew they had a snitch, but it was just too late.
Right. Shanti's spy takes out all their shooters, just like that, and it leaves the Samson brothers completely exposed for Tommy's crew.
And that church scene was just pure chaos. Jenard actually manages to shoot D-Mac.
Yeah, but only because D-Mac's gun jammed, and D-Mac only survives because Shanti gets him out of there immediately.
So here's where it gets really interesting. The person Tommy was hunting, Jenard, the one who caused all this, he survives. But Diamond, the one trying to make peace, the only one offering a way out of this whole mess, he pays the price.
When Tommy finally has Jenard cornered, Diamond does the one thing that has been his fatal flaw all along.
Loyalty.
Misplaced loyalty. He jumps in front of Jenard, and the sources are all clear on this. Tommy accidentally shoots Diamond. It wasn't the plan. It was just a consequence of Diamond choosing his screw-up brother over his own life.
And Tommy just leaves. He goes to check on D-Mac, leaving Jenard weeping over Diamond's body. It's just, what a tragic twist.
Yeah.
Tommy's quest for vengeance cost him the one person who could have actually helped him end the war.
Now, everyone is obviously desperate for the finale, so let's talk about the schedule. The sources confirm the show is skipping a week, which is pretty standard for Starz.
Right. So since today is January 9th, 2026, the finale, episode 10, which is called Beginning of the End, that airs next Friday, January 16th.
And the official synopsis for that episode, it promises exactly what you'd expect. It says, the mounting pressure for retaliation looms as disastrous moves and shocking secrets shake the streets.
So yeah, all bets are off. The sources are predicting a totally chaotic, violent ending.
It has to be. I mean, think about it. Tommy just accidentally killed the only voice of reason left. Jenard is now completely unhinged with nothing to lose. You still have Che's ultimatum hanging out there. The RD's wanting blood. Ortega is free. And Vic Flynn has his immunity deal.
That's a perfect storm.
Which raises an important question. Is this beginning of the end for Tommy? Like the end of him? Or is it just the end of his Chicago chapter, setting him up for something bigger?
And all the speculation we're seeing in fan communities and the articles is really leaning toward the second option. There's a lot of talk that the finale might go full circle with Power Book 2 Ghost.
With Tariq.
With Tariq.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of chatter about a potential crossover or sequel that would involve both Tommy Joseph Sikora and Tariq, Michael Rainey Jr.
You know, if that's true, then this finale isn't about Tommy dying. It's about him making a choice. He came to Chicago to find family, he lost most of it, and now he has a clear reason to just leave all this carnage behind.
And take his operation somewhere else.
Exactly. The door is wide open for him to escape the combined pressure of the feds and the cartels and just pivot.
So, to recap War Requiem, we basically saw the end of every major alliance. Marshall's death was the end of that street-level brotherhood. Vic's deal showed the law will sell its soul.
And Diamond's death. Even though it was an accident, it was the ultimate price for Jenard's desperation and Tommy's refusal to choose strategy over pure vengeance.
Every single choice just had this devastating ripple effect. It's a perfect setup for the finale. Okay, so the sources confirm Tommy shot Diamond by accident when he jumped in front of Jenard. And Jenard was left weeping over his brother. So here's something for you to think about this week. Jenard has now lost everything: his plan, his crew, his brother. Does a man with nothing left become predictable? Or will this accidental killing by Tommy just fuel a final, much more brutal and focused vengeance that makes Jenard the most dangerous enemy Tommy has ever created?
We'll definitely be here to analyze the aftermath of that, whatever happens on January 16th.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll be ready for the fallout.